All right, let's set the scene. Imagine you're a cloud architect and your phone starts ringing off the hook. There is a full-blown crisis, but it's not a server crash or a bug in the code. Nope, it's a financial crisis. A company's cloud bill has just exploded, and they need you to find out why, and they need you to do it yesterday. Today, we're jumping feet first into that exact situation.
And this was the number that kicked it all off. $42,500 for a single month. And that's just for storage on Google Cloud Platform. I mean, wow, that's the kind of number that makes your stomach drop, halts projects in their tracks, and gives the finance team a collective heart attack. This wasn't a small leak, you guys. This was a fire hose of cash going out the door.
So naturally, that became the million-dollar question, or, well, the $42,000 question. Where is all this money going? And it's not just about the cost. It's about getting back control, about efficiency, and about really, truly understanding what's going on inside your cloud. The hunt had to begin, and it had to begin right now.
Yeah, a number that big is never just a simple accounting error. It's almost always a symptom of a much, much deeper problem. This is a textbook story, really, of what happens when the incredible power of cloud automation gets ahead of smart planning and governance. It's how costs can spiral out of control seemingly overnight.
So how in the world do you even start to chip away at a bill this big? Well, you don't try to solve it all at once. You have to break it down piece by piece. The very first step in any cost crisis is to put on your detective hat. You've got to perform some forensics. You dissect the bill, you follow the money trail, and you pinpoint the exact services that are bleeding cash. I was officially on the hunt for the cost culprits.
And after digging in, what we found was fascinating. It wasn't one single thing gone wrong. No, it was more like a three-headed monster of waste. Get this, over half the cost, a whopping 55%, was from unmanaged log data just sitting in standard cloud storage. Another huge chunk, 30%, was from ancient, forgotten persistent disk snapshots. And that last 15%? Yep, that was from over-provisioned, basically idle file store shares. So just like that, we had our targets.
Okay, so with the culprits clearly identified, it was time to go on the offensive. We planned a targeted, three-pronged attack. For each of these sources of waste, we needed a very specific fix. The goal wasn't just to stop the bleeding for this month, but to put systems in place to make sure this could never, ever happen again. First up, we had to tackle the biggest offender of the bunch. The company was generating terabytes of machine logs every single day. Now, these are super important for debugging, but they were being dumped into a standard high-cost storage bucket and then just left there indefinitely. Data that was maybe useful for a week or two was being paid for at the highest possible rate forever. The solution here is one of the most powerful and honestly one of my favorite tools in the cloud storage toolkit, lifecycle rules. Seriously, think of them as a little cost-saving robot that you just set up once and then forget about. You create a simple policy, and it automatically moves your data to cheaper storage tiers, like GCP's Nearline or Coldline, or it can even delete the data completely once it hits a certain age. It's brilliant. And the best part is, it's incredibly easy to do. We just pointed to that expensive log bucket, created a new rule, and set a super simple condition. Hey, if any file in here is older than 30 days, just move it. Move it from that pricey standard storage down to the much, much cheaper Coldline tier, which is perfect for long-term archival. And the result? That one single change cut this part of the bill by more than 90%. Just, wow. Okay, on to culprit number 2, the silent cost accumulator. The team had set up automated daily snapshots of their disks, which, by the way, is a great practice for backups. But here's the problem. They set up the create part of the automation, but they completely forgot about the delete part. So hundreds and hundreds of old, useless snapshots were just piling up day after day, each one quietly adding its own little line item to the monthly bill. And it all comes down to this simple truth, one that every cloud engineer should have tattooed on their brain. The most expensive data is the data you forgot you had. It's so true. This is that hidden danger of automating things without putting some governance around it. So we put a simple script in place to just prune any snapshot older than 14 days. Boom, that immediately wiped out that 30% chunk of the bill, a savings of over $12,000 a month. Insane. And that brings us to our third and final culprit. This one's a classic case of what I like to call paying for a Ferrari just to go to the grocery store. The team was using GCP's top-of-the-line, high-performance, enterprise-grade file store for, well, everything. Things like temporary data sharing, dev environments, workloads that had absolutely no need for that kind of horsepower or its price tag. So the solution here is really just about matching the service to the actual job. We went through every single file share, and anything that wasn't a truly mission-critical, latency-sensitive app got moved from that expensive enterprise tier down to the much more reasonable basic tier. It's a concept called right-sizing, and it is absolutely essential for keeping your costs under control. Now, this whole story is powerful, but you know what? Its real value is in the universal lessons we can pull out of it, because these fixes aren't just one-off tricks for one company. They actually represent a whole set of strategic levers that you can and should be using to control your storage costs in pretty much any cloud environment. From going through experiences just like this one, I've really distilled this whole strategy down to 7 core levers. Think of this as your essential checklist, your playbook for maintaining good cloud cost hygiene and stopping a crisis before it even has a chance to start. All right, here they are. First, you have to implement data lifecycle policies, just like we did with those log files. It's a must. Second, compress and partition your data before you even store it. Smaller data equals a smaller bill. It's that simple. Third, routinely prune old snapshots. Don't pay for backups you're never, ever going to use. Fourth, right-size your file shares and other services. Match the power to the need. Fifth, and this is a big one people forget, review storage classes annually. Cloud prices and features are always changing. What was best last year might be wasteful today. And finally, maybe the 2 most important that tie it all together. Automate cost and usage monitoring so you get an alert before crisis, and establish clear governance policies so everyone on your team knows the rules. Seriously, these aren't just suggestions. They're basically necessities for operating efficiently in the cloud today. And that brings us right back around to the final and most important question. Look, this story I just told you, it's not some rare, crazy event. It is incredibly common. So take a good look at these levers, think about your own cloud environments, and ask yourself honestly, which of these culprits, unmanaged logs, old snapshots, over-provisioned services, which one is hiding in your cloud bill right now, just waiting to be found?